Saint Rita of Cascia has a special place among the many saints venerated in the Catholic Church for the painful and persistent journey towards sainthood that she undertook despite the hurdles in her path. Rita was born Margherita Lotti in 1381 in the city of Roccaparina, a small suburb of Cascia near Spoleto, Umbria, Italy. Her name, Margherita, means pearl. She was affectionately called Rita, the short form of her baptismal name. Her parents, Antonio and Amata Ferrilotti, were known to be noble, charitable persons who gained the epithet Conciliatori di Cristo, meaning peacemakers of Christ. She was married to a nobleman, Paolo Mancini, at the age of 12. Allegedly, Mancini was known to be a rich, quick-tempered, immoral man who had many enemies in the region of Cascia. The marriage lasted for 18 years, during which she is remembered for her Christian values as a model wife and mother who made efforts to convert her husband from his abusive behavior. Due to the family feud between the Mancini and the Chicchi families, Paolo met an untimely and violent death. The expectation of society at the time was that Paolo and Rita's sons should avenge the murder of their father to defend the family's honor. Rita, however, influenced by the peacemaking example of her parents, pledged to forgive her husband's killers. She faced a steep challenge, however, in convincing her sons to do the same. Tradition has it that she often pointed out to them the image of the crucified Christ and the fact that he forgave those who killed him. Within a year, however, both sons succumbed to a deadly illness, leaving Rita not only a widow, but also childless. Following the death of her husband and sons, Rita decided to join the monastery of St. Mary Magdalene in Cascia, but was turned away. The convent, while acknowledging Rita's good character and piety, was hesitant to take her in. Rita was, however, persistent and approached them again with her request, but the sisters even more firmly refused, citing that although Rita had forgiven her husband's killers, her family had not. There were members of the rival family in the convent, and Rita's presence would be detrimental to community harmony, the convent superiors thought. Seeking the aid of her three patron saints, St. Augustine of Hippo, St. Nicholas of Tolentine, and St. John the Baptist, Rita set out to make peace between the families. She went to her husband's family and exhorted them to put aside their hostility and stubbornness. They were convinced by her courage and agreed. The rival family, astounded by this overture of peace, also agreed. The two families exchanged a peaceful embrace and signed a written agreement, putting the vendetta to rest forever. A fresco depicting the scene of the peaceful embrace was placed on a wall of the Church of St. Francis in Cascia. Pious Catholic legends recount that Rita was transported into the monastery of St. Magdalene via levitation at night into the garden courtyard by her three patron saints. She remained at the monastery, living by the Augustinian rule, until her death from tuberculosis on the 22nd of May, 1457. There are various legends associated with the life events connected to St. Rita. The partial stigmata. On the Good Friday of 1442, while meditating before an image of Christ crucified, a small wound appeared on her forehead, as though a thorn from the crown that encircled Christ's head had loosened itself and penetrated her flesh. Considered to be a partial stigmata, she bore this external sign of union with Christ until she died in 1457. At the time of her death, the sisters of the convent bathed and dressed her body for burial. They noticed that her forehead wound remained the same, with drops of blood still reflecting light. When her body was later exhumed, it was noted that her forehead wound remained the same, with the glistening light reflected from the drops of blood. Her body showed no signs of deterioration. Over several years, her body was exhumed 2 more times. Each time, her body appeared the same. She was declared incorruptible after the third exhumation, the roses. A cousin who was visiting Saint Rita, who was bedridden towards the end of her life, had asked if the saint needed anything. However, after consistent requests asking her if she wanted anything particular, Saint Rita requested for a rose from her family garden. It was January, and her cousin did not expect to find one due to the severe winter season in Umbria. However, when the cousin went to the family house, a single blooming rose was found in the garden and was brought back to Rita at the convent. Saint Rita is often depicted holding roses or with roses nearby. On her feast day, churches and shrines of Saint Rita provide roses to the congregation that are blessed by the priest during Mass. The bees. In the parish church of Laan, near Ghent, Belgium, there is a statue of Rita in which several bees are featured. This depiction originates from the story of her baptism as an infant. On the day after her baptism, her family noticed a swarm of white bees flying around her as she slept in her crib. However, the bees peacefully entered and exited her mouth without causing her any harm or injury. Instead of being alarmed for her safety, her family was mystified by this sight. Legend has it that a farmer whose arm was wounded by a scythe had moved his arm over Saint Rita to chase the bees away and had his wounds healed instantly. Rita was beatified by Pope Urban VIII in 1626. She was canonized on 24th of May, 1900 by Pope Leo XIII. Her feast day is on the 22nd of May. On the 100th anniversary of her canonization in 2000, Pope John Paul II noted her remarkable qualities as a Christian woman. Rita interpreted well the feminine genius by living it intensely in both physical and spiritual motherhood. Rita has acquired the reputation, together with St. Philomena and St. Jude, as a saint of impossible causes. She is also the patron saint of sterility, abuse victims, loneliness, marriage difficulties, parenthood, widows, the sick, bodily ills, and wounds. Thank you for viewing. For more interesting content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.